Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, chapter 14, text number 27 through 29. I'll read the first two shlokas, then we can repeat the last one. In response to the request of Maharaj Chitraketu, Angira Rishi, who was born of Lord Brahma's mind, was very merciful towards him. Because the sage was a greatly powerful personality, he performed the sacrifice by offering oblations of sweet rice to Twashta. O Parikshit Maharaj, best of the Bharatas, the remnants of the food offered in the Jagya were given by the great sage Angira to the first and most perfect among Chitraketu's millions of queens, whose name was Krita Duty. Text number 29. Ataha Nripatim Rajan Bhavitaika Stadat Tabatmaja Arshashoka Pradastubhyam Iti Brahma Suto Yayo. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, the great sage told the king, O great king, now you will have a son who will be the cause of both jubilation and lamentation. The sage then left without waiting for Chitraketu's response. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Arsha means jubilation and Shoka means lamentation. The king was overwhelmed with joy when he understood that he would have a son. Because of his great jubilation, he could not actually understand the statement of the great sage Angira. He accepted it to mean that there would certainly be jubilation because of the birth of his future son, but that he would be the king's only son, and being very proud of his wealth and empire, will not be very obedient to his father. Thus the king was satisfied, thinking, let there be a son. It does not matter if it is not very obedient. In Bengal there is a proverb that instead of having no maternal uncle, it is better to have a maternal uncle who is blind. The king accepted this philosophy, thinking that a disobedient son would be better than no son at all. The great sage Chanakya Pandit says, Ko artha putrena jatina, yo na vidvam na dharmika, kanena chakshusha himva, kimva, chakshus pidaiva evalam. Sorry. What is the use of a son who is neither a learned scholar nor a devotee? Such a son is like a blind, diseased eye, which always causes suffering. Nevertheless, the material world is so polluted that one wants to have a son even though he is useless. This attitude was represented in the history of King Chitraketu. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. This is the ignorance of this material world. Here very nicely described in these pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chitraketu had 10 million wives. Somehow, none of them were able to give him a son. And for a king to have a son is very important, because if the king has no heir, then the parampara is destroyed. So this is the nature of everyone in this material world. Everybody wants their legacy to be carried on in their lives. Therefore, a son is very important, because the son takes the surname of the father. So in this way, the so-called parampara is carried on. Though in the end, as Srila Prabhupada explains, there will only be a long list of names. That's all there will be. Actually, as we see in the next pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, how that prophecy of Angira Muni is a great powerful acharya, sage, son of Brahmas. And he knew the desire of Chitraketu. Though he was perfectly competent to give him transcendental knowledge, in that condition of mind, Chitraketu Maharaj could not have appreciated transcendental knowledge because he was absorbed in the materialistic concept of life. Therefore, we see this whole world today is absorbed in the material concept of life, the bodily concept. Janasya mohoyam aham mameti striya pumsam mituni bhavamekam tayor mito ridoya granti hahu ato griya kshetra suta apta vittay janasya mohoyam aham mameti. I am mine. I am this body and everything belongs to me. So there is always a desire to have a son. Sometimes we see in India, a man gets married, he wants to have a son, but he ends up with 6, 7 female daughters. He becomes very disappointed. He wants a son. He keeps trying again and again. Sometimes he doesn't get a son. Then he has to pay all the dowry. So a lot of lamentation there, very little jubilation. And that is the unfortunate mentality of materialistic people. It is not that the female children are less important than the male, but somehow or other this mentality has developed in this world that the female children are liabilities and the male child is as an asset. So this is the mentality of this material world. So Angira Muni, knowing the mentality of Chitraketu, he did not give him this transcendental knowledge. That was Chitraketu's misfortune. He was not ready. As we see later on, he woke up by the grace of his own so-called son. So Chitraketu was given the merciful glance of Angira Rishi, and he performed his jagya and offered oblations to Twashta of sweet rice, and that sweet rice was given to his favorite queen, Kritadhyuti. But as we see, the prophecy of Angira Muni was very much felt later on by Chitraketu. So the queens, you can imagine 10 million queens, only one queen got the rice. So they became very jealous. So King Chitraketu, he thought, let me take the jubilation now, and later on when the lamentation comes, we will deal with that. He never had thought that something of that greatness or that would happen to him, that his son would be killed by his own queens. So in this way, everybody is born in illusion, and we remain in illusion. As long as we are on the bodily concept of life, this illusion of children, family, society, friendship, love, it will remain and it will increase to the point of creating a great lamentation. In the beginning there is some jubilation naturally, When a man gets married, it's a new thing for him. Then as life goes by, there are so many problems, so many difficulties. And in the end, there is only disappointment. Pavarga and apavarga. Pa, ma. Pavarga means the material existence. And apavarga means spiritual existence. Pavarga, pa. Everybody in this world must work to maintain a wife and children. Then people are not satisfied with a simple income. Then they have to work very hard. like the donkey we have seen. Nowadays you don't see donkey on four legs. You see a lot of donkeys on 2 legs. But in the past, especially the Dobi, they used to have these donkeys and they used to fill them up with so many clothes, and the donkeys had to walk. And in the end, what he gets, at the end of the day, he only gets a morsel of grass. And for that morsel of grass, he has to work so hard. But because he's a donkey, he's not realizing the grass is on both sides of the road. He doesn't have to work. He can eat peacefully on the road, but because he's ignorant. So similarly, people are not satisfied with one job. They want to have more and more and more. That is the nature of lust. Dusparena nalena cha. It burns like fire and is never satisfied. So this material acquisition of wealth, of position, of fame, name, glory, is going on from time immemorial, as we see here in the history of Chitraketu Maharaj, that he wanted a son. Now the jubilation, for that little jubilation of having a son, he had to undergo so much tribulation. So he performed the rituals of the birth of his own son, and gradually the child was growing up, and he was very happy seeing his own child growing up, the heir of his kingdom. But the queens, they were all very unsatisfied, because all of a sudden he did not give any attention anymore to those queens. He only gave attention to Kritadyuti because she bore the son for him. So they became jealous. They became envious. This is the nature of the material world. So then they put poison in the food of the child, and he died. So he never expected, as here we see Srila Prabhupada say, that he thought that perhaps he would not become a very obedient son because of his being the only son. But that was not the case. The case was that actually Chitraketu is a great devotee of the Lord. So Krishna, if Krishna wants his devotees to surrender to him, he puts them in great difficulties. So here the difficulty of Chitraketu was that he had to lose his own son. So one should not be disturbed as a devotee if he finds himself in difficult conditions of life, if he has a disease, or if he loses things, material possessions, or his own health, or his family, or his relatives, wife, children, father, mother. These are all related to the body. As we see in this history, that the soul is always different. It is not that the child, suppose the child is born in a particular family and he carries on the parampara. But it's never the same soul. The soul keeps changing. The body is the same. Body is made of material energy, but the soul keeps changing. It's not the same soul that comes in that family. So we have this ignorance, this misunderstanding that we are this body. And therefore we are being identified with this material body. We accept a particular body as our relative, as our friend, as our wife, as our enemy, or so many things, so many designations are there. So King Chitraketu, his son, was killed by his own wives, and then there was great lamentation. Great lamentation, naturally. His only son, he worked so hard. He begged for the mercy of Angira Rishi for that child, but the child was dead. So then Angira Rishi again came to him, along with Narada Muni. And he was still in ignorance. He did not realize, being overwhelmed by this bodily identification, he was very much disturbed by the sukha, by the lamentation that why my son has died. I've done so much, so many austerities I have performed. I have now had the opportunity to receive my son, and now he's dead. He was very much lamenting, like we all lament in this material world. We lament, we enjoy acquiring material assets, and we suffer when we lose them. But in the acquisition of those material assets, the material assets themselves are not ours to gain. Therefore, we really have nothing to be jubilant about, because they are not ours. They belong to God, to Krishna. And similarly, we have nothing to lament, really. This is the mentality of a devotee. He doesn't lament, nor he becomes jubilant. That is the nature of a devotee. Those who are self-realized, they know, I have nothing to enjoy in this material world, nor do I have anything to relinquish in this world. Nothing is mine. Therefore, he is fully detached, fully self-realized in his understanding, in knowledge. But Chitraketu Maharaj is giving the perfect example of a materialistic man. He was very much attached to his son. So when Angira Rishi came and with Narada Muni again, he touched his lotus feet and he said, please, 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 bring back my son. I'm totally disturbed. I want my son, I want my son. So then Narada Muni and Angira Rishi, being very powerful, they brought back the son. And they asked the son, please go back to your father. But then the shloka explains that the soul, not more, it doesn't say the son, it said the soul, the Atma, who resides within that particular body of the so-called son of Chitraketu. Through that soul, both Narada Muni and Angira Rishi imparts spiritual knowledge to his so-called father. And he said, my dear Acharyas, my dear Angira Rishi, if you assure to me that he is my father, because I am the soul. Now he is speaking as a self-realized living entity. And he told him that I am the soul. I have been moving from body to another in so many species of life. Sometime I have been a father, sometime I have been a son, sometime I have been a mother. So many roles we have accepted. The soul accepts in his journey in this material world in trying to satisfy his lust for enjoyment and enjoying separately from Krishna. So he's, as a self-realized soul, he's explaining that I am moving around from time immemorial. Now you have to guarantee to me that this is my father, then I'll go back. So then Chitraketu woke up. That is the grace of the Acharya, that is the grace of the spiritual master. Here we see Narada Muni, both Narada Muni and Angira Rishi, such a powerful devotees of the Lord. And they imparted transcendental knowledge through the voice, through the mouth of his son, so-called son. Then he realized, he woke up. So this material world is meant for one single purpose, to wake up. To wake up to the reality that we are not these material bodies. To wake up to the reality that we have forgotten Krishna, our real friend, our real Father, our real Lord and Master. And we are now wandering. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagavan. We have been wandering from time immemorial. Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, Anadikarama Phale. There is no trace in history of the particular time that we came in contact with the material nature. You can imagine every breath of Lord Vishnu in the Karana ocean. When the Lord exhales, all the universes are created. And when the Lord inhales, all the universes are withdrawn within this transcendental body. So you can imagine how many billions and billions and billions of lifetimes we must have spent in these material bodies, in these different Brahmandas. So we cannot understand. Just like Chitraketu could not understand. He was bewildered. Prakrite kriyamanani, by the material energy. Gunai karmani sarvasa. Ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. We think we are the doer. We think we are the enjoyers. But we forget that the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material body. The material energy cannot really exercise their influence on the spirit soul, because the spirit soul is eternal and is always full of knowledge and bliss. But right now we are in a condition of passive engagements. Just like the soul, just like a person who is sitting in the car and the driver takes him around without directions. So the soul is simply having a passing role, passive roles in this material world. But because of misunderstanding, we are not taking charge of our own destiny. So here we see how Krishna is so kind. He wakes up Chitraketu Maharaj by a jolt. So Krishna is very kind. He jolts us sometime, so that we can come to our senses and understand that I am not this material body. I have nothing to do with this material energy. I am eternal. This material world is a temporary situation, but I am eternal. And the eternal is incompatible with the temporary. The eternal, or the spirit soul, his position is in the spiritual existence, in the association of the devotees, in the association of the Lord, in the service of Krishna, transcendental loving service. But as long as we are situated in this material body, then we are bewildered. Kartaham iti manyate. We think we are the doer. Mogasa moga karmano, moga jnana vichetasa. We are totally under the illusion of this material energy. So in this way we are taking shelter of so many things which have nothing to do with us. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a statement, Deo patra kalatradishu atma sanyeshu asatsvapi tesham pramatta nidanam pasannapi na pasyati. In our condition of material existence, we are not able to see our inevitable destructions. We take shelter of so many fallible soldiers. Deo patra kalatradishu, we take shelter of this body, we take shelter of the extension of these bodies, our wife, our children, our friends, our relatives. We take shelter of the government, that they can protect us. The soldiers are there at the borders of our great nation. to protect us. Atmasanyeshu means fallible soldiers. Asatsu api. Asatsu means temporary. No one can protect us from death. No one can protect us from taking birth again. Nobody can protect us from this material existence. So as long as we remain in the absorbed in the bodily concept of life, then we have to undergo the pangs of material existence, of birth, disease, old age, and death. Tapatraya, the threefold miseries of this world. The miseries which are caused by the body and the mind. The miseries which are caused by other living entities. Miseries which are caused by natural disturbances. Just like I was just reading today, watching how in Nepal such a huge landslide came and wiped out entire villages, entire towns. Huge. The old glacier fell and destroyed and killed hundreds and hundreds of people. We make so many arrangements. Beautiful house, nice furniture, first-class foods, a nice wife, nice children. Now you go to take rest and you wake up and you're in a different body. You can imagine that what is death? That means you sleep for 3-4 months and you wake up. Every night you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning. And when you're dying, you go to sleep for 6-7 months. Bhagavatam says, Srila Prabhupada explains. And you wake up, you're in the womb of another mother, ready to be pushed out. Samastrita je padapallavam plavam mahat padam yasho murare bhavam buddhir vatsa param padam 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 yadvipadam natesham. Every step that we take is dangerous. Every step we take is dangerous. No matter what we do, no matter how we apply our intelligence, our mind in trying to protect ourselves, but material nature is so powerful that even the greatest king, the greatest emperors, where are they now? Where are they? Where is Julius Caesar? Where is Napoleon? Where are all these great personalities? Even the great kings, where are they? Only big list of names. Nobody is so powerful to withstand the onslaught of material nature. Therefore, the devotees, they take shelter of Krishna. Krishna Payamam, Govinda Payamam, Rakshamam Payamam. Please protect me. So once we take shelter of the Lord, once we realize that we are not this material body, once we understand that any attempt in this material world to make a comfortable condition of life is futile. We see the whole world is burning in the desire for lust. So many so-called intelligent people, they are simply fighting each other like cats and dogs for supremacy. This is the mentality of the asuras, the demons, to fight each other. Ishvaroham, ham bogi, siddhoham, balavat sukhi. I am Ishvara, I am the controller. Aham bogi, I am the enjoyer. Siddho, I am perfect. This is the mentality, this is the illusion of the materialistic man in trying to lord over the material nature. But just like the cat plays with the mouse before kills it, so similarly material nature plays with us for some time. 60 years, 50 years, 100 years at the most. Even 100 years, when you become old, you're useless anyway. And when you're a child, you're useless anyway. So how many years you have to lord over this material nature? 20 years, if you're lucky. What is the value of such exertion? What is the value of all this? What is the value of our parampara? My bacha, my son, my daughter, my friend, my relatives. They will carry on my legacy. This is all madness. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Jadindriya pritaya prinoti. Therefore, Rishabdev Maharaj is teaching his own son. This is the duty of every father, to teach his son that this material world is useless, this material world is dangerous, that this material world is not a place for a gentleman. That is the duty of the father. Like before we were saying, a male is an asset. Actually, every father sees his son as a continuation of his own stupidity. I'm not able to gain what I wanted, therefore my child will do that for me. He simply sees himself in his own son. This is the madness of this material world. But we are all individual souls. We are all individuals. We have our own individual desires, individual aspiration. We have an individual karma that we carry with us from time immemorial. And therefore a dutiful father, an intelligent father, will simply teach to his own son the way and the means by which he becomes free from this entanglement of birth, disease, old age, and death. That is the only business. Everything else is already set by your karma. How much Janma, Aishwarya, Sutta, Shri. There is no need to work like a donkey. And even if you don't work like a donkey, that doesn't mean that you will get what you want. If working hard means you get success, then the Telawalas in Calcutta will be very rich people. So short. How time goes fast when you talk about Krishna. So, extreme endeavor does not guarantee success. But a devotee of the Lord, he is already successful simply by raising his hands and say, my dear Lord, please protect me. The moment we do this, then our success is guaranteed. That's why we see how in his lamentation, and after getting a nice lecture from his own son, he came back to his senses and fell down at the lotus feet of both Narada Muni, and he was ready now for accepting transcendental knowledge. So I'm obedient to the sound. If there is any question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Humble obeisances to you.
Speak a little loud, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Humble obeisances to you. This is a question like in this Kali Yuga we have many useless sons. But to a devotee mothers. Okay. So what should that devotee mother do? Because she is tolerating. I mean like, you know how Prabhupada went to Western and made hippies to happies. Okay, such hippies kind of sons are also there. So what do you suggest for the devotee mothers?
Can you repeat? I'm not able. Can you tell me? I'm not able to understand the questions.
Prabhu, Mataji is telling that devotee mothers
Yes.
are getting sons like hippies.
Getting sons like?
Hippies. Yeah, so how to deal with that?
What about that?
How to deal.
How to deal with them?
And make them devotees.
Yeah, how to make them devotees? You take a nice lathi and you beat them up. There is nothing you can do. You try. Just like there is a saying, you can take a horse to water, but you cannot force him to drink. Just like my father, he wanted me to work hard like an ass. But at the age of 15, I said bye-bye. I didn't want to work like an ass. So it is stated that you, just like here, in his condition of ignorance, he was not able to receive the transcendental knowledge of Angira Muni, because his mind was absorbed in having a son, in having a child. So similarly, those mothers who have children like a hippie, what can they do? They can pray for him. They can give them some guidance. But ultimately, as Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan, where is this Bhagya? Not everybody. How many people are in Bangalore today? How many youngsters are in Bangalore? But how many are here are sitting with us hearing Bhagavatam class? Most people are simply interested in eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So you cannot force anybody. You become Krishna conscious. And by your becoming Krishna conscious, you can save your own dependent from birth and death. So everybody has the duty, as a father, as a mother, to teach his own children about Krishna consciousness. And by doing so, they have a better start. Just like I always see all of you, you're all so innocent, so born in such a good family in India, that right from childhood you had the opportunity to hear about Krishna. Maybe not in the way Srila Prabhupada explained to us, but still, you are so fortunate. I was not that fortunate. We were born in a Malecha family, surrounded by all sorts of nonsense. So that first impressions are the most powerful. The most powerful. And unfortunately, those impressions are still bothering me from those years. They are not very easy to get rid of. But you are all born in such a good families. And from your young age, you have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And your childhood had so much influence on these decisions. So similarly, a mother or a father should always impress upon his own children, what is the value of life? What is the goal? What is the danger of gratification, sense gratification? So that the child, therefore it is stated, Komara charit pragyo dharman bhagavatam miha. From childhood, one should learn about Bhagavatam. One should learn about Bhagavad Gita. One should learn about what is the goal of life. Then, though he may, during his own life, he may fall off the path, but those impressions will remain very strong, and gradually they'll bring him back to the path of Krishna consciousness.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhu, during the call, like if we talk to our parents, they will be telling so many emotional words that make... Yes, Prabhu.
Come closer, then I can hear you better.
Prabhu, when we talk with our parents during in the call, they will be talking so many emotional words, which will make us to go to the material world and earn money. So how to tolerate that, Prabhu? Like how can we please them? Because it will make us to devote some time to think about it, and also it will feel so much of like, am I doing anything? Like I'm not.
That is the trick of Maya.
Yes, Prabhu.
Pisachira.
Because
Maya is like a pisacha. Pisacha means what? As a witch.
Yes, Prabhu.
What are the good business of the witch? They change their forms. They talk very sweetly. But what is the ultimate goal of their sweet talks? Is to eat you up. Enechi oshadi maya nashi barolagi arinam mahamantra lao tumi magi. There is only one medicine That is the Harinam. So father and mother, they will always think that here is my son, I have put so much money on this child, I gave him such a good education. He should work for me. Yes or not? That's natural. Materialistic thoughts. Like Hiranyakashipu, he had the same mentality. No.
Yes,
My son is my only son. Why he should learning all this nonsense? He should come and learn from Ananda and Amarka. They should learn how to make money, how to count the cash and bring to me. So that's the demoniac mentality. So don't become disturbed or taken by emotional outbursts. Oh, my dear son, how can I live without you? These are all the tricks. Of course, if you are the only son, then you should take care of your mother.
my brother is there, bro. My brother is there, bro. There is a brother.
But Krishna consciously. A devotee can take care of his own mother. There is no big problem. Krishna provides for all living beings. So why should that be an obstacle to your chanting and to your serving Krishna? There is no obstacle greater. There is no such obstacle that can stop us from becoming a devotee, from engaging in devotional service. It is not that everyone will join the temple, but everyone's duty is to make a temple in his own home. Our heart is the temple, our home should become a temple. And if you can join Krishna consciousness and preach Krishna consciousness, that is the best occupation. Otherwise, stay home. Stanistita stuti gatam tan van manobir. That was the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when that Brahmana in South India wanted to join Lord Chaitanya. Mahaprabhu said, there is no need. Stay home. Stay home. They have a nice wife, nice children, a nice occupation, and chant the holy name. What is the difficulty in doing that? You have to cook. Prabhupada was just listening today. Prabhupada said, you have to cook. You have to eat, is it? So why you cook for Krishna? You change the mentality. Instead of cooking for yourself, you cook for Krishna. Then, my dear Lord, I have prepared so many nice preparations for you. Kindly accept, and you take his prasadam. So what is the difficulty in doing that? And chanting the holy name of the Lord. You go to sleep early instead of watching TV all night. Go to sleep early, get up early, chant 16 rounds. Takes 2 hours. 2 hours, very easy. There's no difficulty in chanting the holy name. 2 hours of our day. What is that? So wherever you are, stanestita, in any position you are, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a beggar, whether you're even a beggar in the street can chant. Understand? But don't let your father and mother give you all this emotional nonsense. Teach them what is the value of life. Understand? Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.